It's Ash from Super Videos, back for another promo breakdown for an upcoming episode of The Walking Dead. This is for Season 11, Episode 17, the first episode for Part 3 of the final season. Obviously, we just saw on AMC the mid-season finale for Season 11, which was a pretty cool episode. I thought that they're gonna put a trailer at the end of this episode for those of us who have AMC Premiere, but they didn't do that, or at least I didn't see it for some reason. But obviously there was a trailer, which I'm gonna be breaking down for you guys. There's some very interesting stuff going on, some Rick references. There is a possibility that Negan is gonna go undercover, or not necessarily undercover, but he's gonna come to the rescue. I'll explain what I mean by that. And there's some very cool things with Lance. It appears that he may have been bit, so that's extremely interesting. So stay tuned, we'll be right back to break all of this down. Alright, as always, before we jump into this, smash that like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. With that said, let's dive right into it. So this trailer starts with this shot of a horde of walkers marching their way to a location. I'm assuming that they're either going towards Hilltop, Alexandria, or Commonwealth. I don't think this is just a random herd. I think it's going to be relevant in the story. Then we get this pretty interesting shot of some Commonwealth soldiers looking around. They're clearing some sort of an area, and there's obviously some dead bodies and some skeletons on the ground, which is extremely interesting. But in the voiceover, Mercer is actually talking, and we'll learn later on that he's talking to none other than Negan. So that's interesting. I'll explain what I think is going on in just a little bit, but he asks Negan, "Alright, who sent you?" To which Negan replies with, "I think you know who sent me." That's interesting, and obviously we do see Daryl and Maggie are hiding, and the Commonwealth militia that we just saw, they're in the background, they're looking for most likely Maggie, Daryl, and the others. So I think what's happening here is that obviously Daryl, Maggie, and the others can't go back to Commonwealth now. They can't go to Alexandria because it's been overtaken. We saw that at the end of Season 11, Episode 16. Same goes with Hilltop, so they have nowhere to go. So they're basically just hiding. The Commonwealth don't know Negan. So I think this is where Negan volunteered to go to Commonwealth and to try to go on an undercover mission and try to see what he can find and try to rescue the people that are inside of Commonwealth so that they're not hurt because of what happened with Maggie, Daryl, and the others. And by saying, "I think you know who sent me," he's pretty much telling Mercer, someone you know sent me. And obviously Mercer is probably going to be smart enough to realize, especially if he knows about the Daryl and Maggie situation, he's going to realize that Daryl is the one that most likely sent him. So I think Negan is trying to work his way on the inside in a way where, because he knows Mercer can be trusted, he's gonna try to get close to Mercer and try to tell him what happened so that he could get him on their side. We have this shot of fake Stephanie. I forgot her real name, but she's looking outside a window and Carol is hiding, so I'm assuming that they're looking for Carol and the others, obviously. And of course, we know that the fake Stephanie is in the secret organization that Lance had built. So obviously she's not one of the good ones. She's not looking for Carol and the others to help them. She's looking for them to turn them in, or worse, kill them. But in the voiceover, Negan says, "We got people in here to protect," referring to people at Commonwealth, the survivors and Commonwealth residents. And then we have this shot of a random walker with their arms tied by a rope. And in the voiceover, Mercer says, "So listen," talking to Negan, "that's my job." So he's saying, it's my job to protect the people. And I love Negan's response. He says, "And yet I was in here anyway." So it looks like Negan sneaked his way into Commonwealth without anyone realizing. So Negan is pretty much saying, you think you know how to protect these people, but I got into Commonwealth without you realizing. So how are you protecting them? So I think that's the angle that Negan is trying to come with in order to not only get Mercer to trust him, but also speak on the problems of the Commonwealth and tell him what actually went down at Riverbend. And then we have this pretty interesting shot of Eugene hugging Rosita. Rosita's pretty sad. So looks like someone died. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't know who it is. Probably someone close to Rosita, but I don't know. I mean, at this point, who is really close to Rosita? We know Magna was pretty close to her, especially at the Commonwealth. So maybe Magna died. Who knows? I mean, there's a possibility it could be you, but I'm leaning towards this being connected to something that might have happened to Magna. It might also be something with Aaron, because I have a feeling that Aaron is also gonna die in the next few episodes, obviously, because we only have 8 episodes left. But I don't think this is related to Aaron. I don't think Rosita and Aaron were that tight. You know what I mean? I think this is most likely related to something with Magna. And then we have this shot, which is pretty interesting. So we have Jerry with the kids, and there's a bunch of Commonwealth residents. They're marching in the streets. I think that this is part of a story from the comics, the riots. I think that the Commonwealth residents realize what's going on based on what they read on the newspaper and Connie's report, and they march into the streets to kind of rebel against the Milton's greediness. We see a similar thing here. So all of the residents are just marching in the streets, and we see 2 of the members of the secret organization that Lance had set up. They're also there, and I'm assuming that they're there to basically try to figure out who was at the center of this, who organized this, and to shut them down. And then we see this shot of Ezekiel and Princess. They're being taken away by the Commonwealth soldiers. So I'm assuming that they are being arrested at this point, because they might have realized that they were connected to how this riots started. And then we have this pretty gross shot of, I think, Carol taking something off of this walker's face. It looks like it's their skin, but it's not. And then we see a shock on Aaron's face here. Not exactly sure what this is, but it might be connected to him seeing someone that he loves or knows being killed or something like that. Then we see this shot right here, which I absolutely love. So we have Rick's Colt Python, and Daryl is holding it. It's the Colt Python that I think Michonne found. Daryl was there too, I think, but they gave it to Judith. But then now Daryl is holding it again. So that's extremely interesting. Does this mean Rick is coming back? No, because they found the Colt Python a while ago. But is this definitely a reference and an Easter egg? Absolutely. More reference than an Easter egg, but I think this might be a subtle clue that Rick is coming back, or teasing at his return to an extent. And then we have this final shot of Lance. He has blood on his face, and it seems like he's beginning to turn. I could be wrong, but I think this is Lance dying. I could be wrong, obviously, but in the voiceover, he says, always a way out. So I think he is probably dying. Those are his final words. He's trying to be optimistic and say there's always a way. I'm not gonna die. I'm gonna come back. Something like that. But that's pretty much it. That's everything that was in this trailer. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, smash that like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video.